Okay, welcome everybody. This is pre-recorded on Monday afternoon. I forgot that I didn't check my schedule. We have a concert this evening at the Tribby Art Center here to see the Screaming Orphans. I'm not sure what they are, but we're going to it because it's part of our seasonal pass. So rather than not spend a week with you, I didn't want you to go unloved. So I am going to do another sheet load of cards that is created by Call Me Crafty Al. And I'll turn the camera down in just a minute. But I just want to welcome everybody. This is being recorded. And I will see you back on Wednesday. But anyways, let me go ahead and introduce myself and welcome those that are new. So welcome everybody. I am Dawn Duvall. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And I have been doing this craziness. It'll be 12 years in February. Can you believe that? Long time. I live in Fort Myers, Florida, and currently Monday afternoon while I'm recording this, it is dark and dreary and it is storming and it's thundering and raining. And needless to say, I did not bring a raincoat or an umbrella, and now there's lightning. So anyways, we're going to do a one sheet wonder. I'm going to show you how you can cut using 3 pieces of 12 by 12 paper, and we're going to make some fun cards. And this pattern that we're going to be using is going to create 9 cards. Now I'm using the paper from Celebration. It's the one that is the cloudy one, and then the other one that has the fruits like strawberries and stuff like that in there. I don't remember what it is, and I don't have, oh wait a minute, it's right here. Let me tell you. I am using, would be helpful, Flight and Airy, and no, I'm not using Flight and Airy. I'm not using that one. I'm using the one that has the clouds. That's the one I'm using. So that's what we're working with. I was going to do Flight and Airy, but I changed my mind. Okay, let me get my paper. I'm glad I looked because I have 3 sheets here that I need to, that we're going to cut. So, okay, I'm going to cut these and then I'll put my cards together, and then you'll see it'll be part of the video. So I'm just going to cut everything, and then we will go from there. And so let's get started. I hope you enjoy this. I will be back Wednesday, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this Saturday is Creation Anticipation. I will let you know that, and let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure, if you haven't already, you hit the subscribe button, click the bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a video. And if you're watching this in my Facebook, the VIP group, you all are fine. You don't need to do anything. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to take our paper, and I'm bringing my paper trimmer. And let me flip the camera down so that you can see what I'm going to be doing. So give me just a second. Let me flip it. Hopefully I've got room in here. It is showing a little bit of shadowing, and I apologize for that. So hopefully we can get this in here. I'm going to adjust the camera. Give me 1 minute. I thought I had the whole thing in here, but apparently I don't, so I need to move it over just a little bit. Yeah, I think we're good with that. Okay, so if your pattern paper has a pattern to it, so for instance, this one has got the suns, then I'm going to end up, what we're going to do when we cut it, the first cut we're going to do, and I'll show you this thing in just a minute, we're going to turn it to the right, 90 degrees. And the same thing with our, this paper here, the strawberries. We're going to do the same thing with that one. Now this one is not directional. The back side is, so I'm not too concerned. I'll probably turn this one as well, just so that we're all on the same page. All right, so that way. Okay, so we're going to do 1 sheet at a time, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. Let me bring in the sheet load of cards. I love the way that Alyssa does all of this. She does a really nice job, and I like using her templates because it helps me use up my pattern paper, and this is her first one for January of 2024. So we're going to make 9 card bases. Now what we're going to do, the first thing that we're going to do is, she shows here the pattern paper. So we need 3 sheets of 12 by 12. and we're going to cut each one into 15 pieces. Now what we're going to do is the first one we're going to cut at 4 inches, and then we're going to take that one and cut it into to 3 5 1/4 pieces, and then the next piece should be the 4 inches, and then we're going to cut those at, because we're going to do some piecing together. Let me show you the card. This is what the front of our card is going to look like. So we're going to have our pattern paper, and then we're going to take and mix up the squares. So we want to have 2 of the smaller squares, and we'll have 2 larger ones. And this is 1.5 inches by 1.5, and then this one is 1.5 by 2 3/4. So rather than making multiple cuts, we're just going to start out by cutting this section. When we get down to B, we're just going to cut it 1.5 by 4 1/4. And then that way, we'll be able to get 9 of those cut out. Okay, and we'll do that for each sheet of paper. All right, I hope that makes sense. So I will put a copy of this. You should be able to download this as well. And so let's go ahead and get started. And let me take this, we'll start with this piece here. And it is directional, so I'm going to put it in my paper trimmer. And I'm going to bring this down, and I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4. And that should leave us, let's see, what, 5 1/4, another 5 1/4 with a 1/2 inch strip. So we're going to go ahead and turn this at 5 1/4, and we're going to cut that. All right, so we're going to bring that down, and then I'm going to bring this one down, and we're going to cut this one at, okay, so this one's going to be cut at 4 1/4. We're going to take that 4 1/4 piece is the one that we're going to cut down when we get done. So we're going to cut that at 4 1/4, and we'll have this piece left over, and we can use that to make other cards with, okay? All right, so I'm going to take the first one that I cut, which I cut at 5 1/4, right? So we're going to go ahead and cut that down to, we're going to cut 4 inches. So I'm sorry, but this is the first time I'm using the pattern. All right, so we're going to cut 3 4 inch by 5 1/4. Okay, so we've got 4. All right, and then we've got 3 4 by 5 1/4. And now each time we cut another sheet of paper, that will give us our 9. All right, now this piece we cut at 4 1/4, right? So now this one we're going to cut at, so we've got, look at the pattern. Let me show you the pattern again so you don't get confused here. All right, so this is saying we're actually going to end up with 2 pieces, but for now we're just going to cut it as 1 piece, and then we'll come back and cut this off. So we've got 1.5 by 2 3/4 plus a 1/2, so that's going to be 4 1/4. So we're going to cut 9 1.5 pieces. All right, so this is 4 1/4. So we're just going to cut. So we'll just come over here because we're going to cut them at 1.5. So I can go 1.5 is all the way to the edge of my paper trimmer. So we're just going to move that right to the edge there, and I'm going to start cutting. That's 1. So we're just going to cut this down. Okay. And we're just going to bring it over to this side because it's a lot easier. And again, we've got our pattern going in the direction that we need it. We're just going to keep cutting. So that's what, 1 2 3 4. And we'll do this one. All right. And then this one. And then we have 1.5 here. And I think this is, yeah, this will be, oh, that's 1.5 as well. Okay, so we've got our 1.5 pieces here. So we're going to set these off to the side. Now we're going to do that on both pieces of our paper. I'm going to see if I can cut them both together. So let's go ahead and do this again. I've got my other 2 pieces. I'm turning both of them. So let's go ahead. We're going to cut at 5 1/4, right? So let's cut the 5 1/4. Hang on, let me get to 5 1/4. 5 1/4 right there. So let's go ahead and cut 5 1/4. All right, and we're going to put those off to the side here. And then this one we're going to cut at 4. So let's do our 4. All right, and again, we have extra pieces, so we can probably make some, we can use those and make extra cards. Since I have this one here, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the 1.5 parts, the pieces that we're going to do. So let's take that, and we're just going to move it down to the 1.5 mark, and we're going to cut these. And we'll go ahead, and now I'm cutting the two at the same time, so you can see the two designs that I'm using, okay? And we're just going to continue to bring this down to the edge and cut off. And if you're going to cut more than two pieces at a time, you definitely want to make sure that you go through so that your paper does cut all the way through. And we'll go one more. And I know this is could be a little. I like doing one sheet wonders because I need birthday cards. I always send a lot of birthday cards out, so this is very helpful to have birthday cards on hand. So if you haven't sent me your birthday, you are more than welcome to message me with that, and I'll add you to my birthday list, and we will we'll go from there. All right, so this one's, let me make sure I've got them lined up. Yep. So these are, we're just going to push everything over to the edge here and cut, and do the same thing here, 1.5. Okay, and then there's our others. Okay, all right, so we're good with those. So we're going to put these off to the side. All right, with the other ones. And now this one, since we cut this at 5 1/4, right, then we're going to bring this in and cut them at 4. So we should have our next 6 cards. So there's those two. And this is going to be, let me get my 4. Get 4 inches in here. All right, and then there's our 4. So there is our 6 cards, and then the other 3 that we cut off. So now we have our 9 cards with our 9 half sheets that we need, and we have some extra pieces that we can use for later. All right, and then now we're going to move on to how we're going to cut our cardstock. All right, now we're going to cut our paper. So I'm using Petal Pink and Shaded Spruce. I've kind of cutting it up just a little bit. All right, now according to our directions again, we need to cut our paper at 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then we need to have the smaller piece, it's what we call the B piece, is going to be at 3 1/4 by 1/2 inch, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my paper at, what do we need, 4 1/2? We need 4 1/2. So I'm going to cut my 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock down at 4 1/2. Okay, now this piece we're going to turn, and we're going to cut these at 3 1/4. So we're going to cut 3 1/4 to start making our card bases, and 3 1/4, and I'll speed this up because you probably don't want to watch me doing this whole thing, but I just wanted to show you, well actually what I'm going to do, I'll just cut that out. What I'm going to do is just show you how to cut one of them, and then I'll do the rest of them off camera. Okay, so now we've got this one, which is at 4 inches, right? Now we need 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, right? So we want to cut this down to 3 1/4. So we're going to line that up here, and if you hear the thunder, it's really starting to boom out here. So we're going to cut off this piece here, which is a 1/2 strip. So we're going to keep that, and now I'm going to turn this because this is 3 1/4, and we want a 4 1/2. So we're going to cut a 4 1/2 there, and then we're going to cut another 4 1/2. All right, and then that leaves us another 1 1/2 pieces. So we're going to hold on to this, and we're going to move this off to the side. All right, so that's there. Now we'll go ahead and finish cutting these. Now we're going to cut, I'm just going to show you one sheet of cardstock. You need 2 sheets to get what you need for the cards. Okay, this is 8 1/2 by 11. So I am going to cut down to 4 1/2 inches right here. So we're going to cut one part of this at 4 1/2. Okay, and then we're going to turn that, and we're going to cut this into 3 1/4 inch pieces. All right, this is going to be on the front that we're going to build with our other pieces. So we're going to cut 3 1/4. So we should get 4 of these, and this would be 3 1/4. And then I'll show you what we're going to do with that. And this is a little bit over, this is like 1 1/4. So we're going to put that off to the side. All right, so these are 4 inches by, we got 3 of those. So we got 4 inches by 3 1/4. Now this one is 4 inches. So we're going to cut this down to 3 1/4. So we're going to bring it up to the 3 1/4 mark, and we're going to trim this piece off here. We may use that. And then this one we're going to cut at 4 1/4. I'm sorry, 4 1/2. All right, so we've got 4 1/2, and then we're going to do one more 4 1/2. Where are we? 4 1/2 goes right there. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I did cut some petal pink, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is going to be part of what we're using for our card base. And then we're going to take, we've got to cut 3 1/4 by 1/2 inch. So I've got these strips here that we cut off. So we're going to do 3 1/4 by 1/2 inch. So we want to come over here 3 1/4 on this side, and this is petal pink. So I'm going to cut this down 3 1/4. So we want that at 3 1/4. So this is going to be 1/2 inch here. And then we want these, hang on a minute, we're going to do 3 1/4. I'm just going to line up right here, it'd be easier to hold on to the paper trimmer. All right, so we got 3 1/4. And this is going to go, we're going to cut those down. These are going to go on the piece that we're going to cross over in the, on the front of the card, in case you're wondering what these are going to be for, and I'll show you in just a second. So we've got 3 of those. All right, so let me cut these down to 1/2 inch and not 3/4 of an inch. My apologies for that. Woo, you can hear that thunder out there. All right, so let me cut these back down. You know what, I did it right on the other ones. I don't know what the world I was thinking. All right, so we got 1/2 inch right here. So I'm gonna flip this over because it's kind of, I'm gonna turn it this way because that piece is kind of, I think I need to change my blade. All right, so there's our 1/2 inch. I don't know what in the world, and I think I already cut these right. These are 1/2 inch. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, whoops, 4, and this is 5, 6, 7. All right, so we're gonna do 1/2 inch, 7, and we have 8, and now we need one more. So I'm gonna take this strip right here. We're gonna cut this down to 3, what did I say, 3 1/4. So we're gonna cut that to 3 1/4. And this should be, we'll cut it down to 1/2 inch, and we'll be good to go with our pieces for to go across the front of our card. So that's 1/2 inch. So now we have our 9 pieces of that, and then I'll trim these down off camera. You don't need to be on there to see that. Okay, what I have done now is to separate my pieces and place everything on my card bases. And I know this looks like a little bunch of busy work. I'm going to pull these off to the side. I'm going to start attaching them. But what I did is I went through and picked the paper that coordinates with those small pieces that we cut. So let me move these in here so you'll get a better idea of what. Oh, hang on a minute. I was wondering what happened to my other card base. Hang on a minute. Let me get my stuff's falling apart here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's my 9th one. I was wondering what happened to that. So anyways, what I did was separate the card bases and then lined up the smaller piece of cardstock. On this one right here is petal pink. And then I'm adding, in case like here, so I'm cut the card bases at 4 1/4 by 11. So I'm going to place this on here. So we'll put the green one underneath. Okay, there we go. Got the green one underneath. Now I'm going to put coordinating, and you can adjust your little pieces however you want, but I'm going to put the matching ones on opposite top and bottom. We'll just do this. We'll put the butterflies on the bottom because we've got some gold in the flowers. And then I'm going to take my little butterfly square and I'm going to put that at the top, okay? So now once we get these lined up, we're going to glue everything down. All right, and then we're going to add our piece of coordinating green strip that we cut out that was 1/2 inch by 3 3/4, and that's going to be our card. And then we're going to add our sentiment on top, which I did the 2 3/8 circle punch with the circle sayings. So let me go ahead and let's get started, and I'll probably fast forward this so you don't have to watch the whole thing, but I will put several together so you'll get the idea of what we're going to do. All right, so I'll go ahead and work with this one. And of course, the blouse that I'm wearing today was not conducive to putting cards together. All right, so I'm just going to push some of these out of the way, and we'll go ahead and I'll put a couple of them together, and then I will probably fast forward so you don't have to watch all of this. All right, so this piece I'm going to lay over. And this is going to be my first layer of my designer paper. And you can layer, I think I'm going to add these on here while I've got it small, and then I'll just attach it to the base. I think I'm going to start with my longer ones. And I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to add our adhesive and lay these on here. And you can space them out whatever you think looks good for your particular cards. And some of these might be a little bit taller, but I think they'll be covered up once I put that little strip across them. I'm going to lift this one up a little bit because it's not quite straight. We want to have a small gap between the two. All right, and then we'll go ahead and do the same with this. And this is an easy way. This is a good way, a great way to use up your designer paper too. So if you've got a lot of designer paper and you're not using it, you're using 3 sheets to put this card together. So that's a great way to use up that paper and not feel guilty by having all that. So I'm going to bring these down. Now these are a little off, but that's okay because I'm going to cover it with my green strip. I'm going to use the coordinating strip for the color cardstock that I'm using, okay? And then we're going to lay this right on top, and that should cover up that. And if it hangs over a little bit, I did cut them a little bit longer. I'll go ahead and trim that off. I just want to make sure because I'd rather have it too long than not long enough. All right, so we've got that on there. I'm just going to lay this down flat, and then we're going to pop up our sentiment. So let's go ahead and do that. I've got to figure out a way to get my sleeves to stop rolling down. All right, and then we're going to lay this here and get that centered. And then I'm going to take a sentiment, and I've got them cut and colored in different. Okay, this one I did is celebrate, and I put the little like candles. So I'm just going to I've got these on dimensionals. So I'm going to pop that up right in the center and put that down right there. And then there is my card. And then of course I'll put my 4 by 5 1/4 piece of white on the inside. But there you go. So there you see how we're going to do our cards. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward, putting these together, and you can watch as I go. All right, and now I'm down to the last one, and you'll see where I put the ink on the wrong side of my card, but thank goodness I had another one. So let's go ahead and finish up this last card, and then I'll pull these all in so that you can see what we made with our One Sheet Wonder. We made 9 cards using up 3 of our designer papers. Now this is off just a tad, so give me a minute. I just need to readjust the fold here or give it a good burnish. It was a little off just a tad. And we'll go ahead and pull in our last paper. And this again is the 2024 celebration paper. It's one that has clouds in it. I love the colors. So we'll just get the last piece together, and I think we'll have this card completed. I hope this has inspired you to use up your papers. And if you need any help or have any questions, whoopsie, my fingers have got glue all over them, so everything I touch is now, it's picking up. So I need to clean them off. So if you have any questions or need anything, reach out to me. You can message me on Facebook, email me at dawn@shallwestamp.com. Whichever way is easier for you to get a hold of me is fine. I am available to assist you as needed. I will also have this, the tutorial guidelines. I will have that as a download in the files section of Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will put a link to a document file through Google Docs, and you'll be able to download the template as well. I have got glue all over my fingers, and I don't like that. So we're almost done. I really do enjoy this paper. All right, so let's see what we've got here. And again, it's just another way to cut up your paper. Hold up, I forgot to put my green thing on. Another way that you can cut your paper up using different designs. And you have the option, because you're using 3 different papers, and if you're using Stampin' Up! Papers, then of course you have 6, right? Because you got front and backs. So you want to make sure you pick stuff that's going to coordinate with each other. And then a sentiment that you can use. Now, it doesn't have to be a circle. You know, it could be a square or rectangle, or you could just stamp it on some basic white and fussy cut around it, or however you want to do it. It's your card. So if you create some using this template, please post to our group. I would love to see that, or on our Facebook page. I would love to see that as well. And let me get this off here, and then I'll pull the rest of the cards in. I've got so much glue on my fingers, it's crazy. With the green glue. I'm having a hard time getting the backs off. Okay, so, and then I'll add my white sheets when I am ready. So, okay. All right, so let's bring in all of my cards that I've done, and let's do, I'll show you these one last time. So there's one card that we did, and I'm using shaded spruce for the card base and petal pink. And then again, these are papers from our 2024 celebration. So there's another card, and then there's one, and then there's another one. And then here's some more, just shuffling around the squares, as you can see. And there's another one. And then there's another one. And then there is the 9th one. So, and that doesn't count the paper that we have left over. I've got enough paper that I can probably make several more cards. So I hope you all have enjoyed this one sheet wonder. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch. I will be back on Saturday at 12 o'clock on my Stampin' Up! Page for the creation anticipation, and it's going to be a sketch, and I'll put that out most likely Thursday. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. You can purchase any of these supplies that I've used through my online store. And if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to help you and work with you. In addition to that, if you don't have a catalog, I'll be more than happy to put one in the mail to you as well. Just let me know. All right, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed these cards. If you use the template again, please make sure that you share those with me. And I will see you on Saturday. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.